Welcome all. So, now we are in the process of learning about the activity based costing. In the previous classes I discussed with you the concepts of the ABC and tried to clarify that how ABC activity based costing is better than the absorption or the total costing system while say calculating the total cost of production and then fixing up the selling price. So, we have seen theoretically that what are the major differences, that how the problem of the over costing of the products and the under costing of the products can be taken care of. And if we move to the ABC from the absorption costing system, in that case I think it will be a better option for the companies to correctly cost their products and then price the products. But the limitation, as I told you, is that of this system is that it is very expensive. So, before implementing the system, firm must make sure that their fixed expenses are very high and there is a complete diversity of the products. They are manufacturing more than 2 products, 1 or 2 products, means 3, 4, 5 products they are manufacturing. So, ABC is implementable. Now, after this conceptual discussion and the basic learning about the ABC, now today in this class as well as in the next class, we will discuss one case which will help you to understand that how means the ABC helps us to calculate the actual cost of production, correct cost of production as compared to the total cost of production, and what is the major difference between the two techniques, right. So, if you talk about this differences and if you want to learn about, please understand first this case carefully, and after that when I solve it you have to carefully understand it, that how I have solved it, what are the important say considerations I have borne in mind. So, this say case is Reliance Ancillaries is an automotive component supplier, is a ancillary unit who is supplying its product to the inputs to the Maruti Udyog Limited, and Maruti Udyog is the final user of their product. So, they are only say they are manufacturing different products, but one product which is a gear wire they are supplying to Maruti and there is some problem in the costing system of this company, this Reliance Ancillaries, and whatever the cost they are calculating by following the total cost system, that is basically not the correct cost, that is much less as compared to the actual cost. So, we have to now understand that how they are calculating the cost as means as at present, and how means the correct cost can be calculated, right. So, if you talk about say calculation of the cost say being calculated here, I have given the total details in this case. First we will understand the case carefully and then we will solve it. So, Reliance Ancillary is an automotive component supplier. The company has been approached by Maruti Udyog Limited to consider expanding its production of gear wire. They are manufacturing and supplying it to MUL up to 2000 units per annum, right. This part is a low volume complex product with a high gross margin that is based on a proposed unit sale price of 7 rupees and 50 paisa. Per unit price which that Reliance Ancillary is selling to Maruti is at 7 rupees 50 paisa. Reliance Ancillary uses a traditional costing system, that is the absorption or the total costing system, that allocates indirect manufacturing cost based on direct labor cost. I told you many times that overhead cost, the indirect overhead cost or the fixed cost, that is allocated largely on the basis of either material or on the proportion of labor or on the basis of labor, and not directly because there is no other basis. So, in this case they are allocating it these indirect costs or the fixed overheads on the basis of direct labor. The rate currently used to allocate indirect manufacturing cost is 400% of the direct labor cost. If 1 rupee is the direct labor cost, then the overhead cost is the 4 rupees. So, it means you can understand that the fixed cost is very high and indirect cost is very high. So, first requirement of implementing ABC in this firm is fulfilled, that yes, they are manufacturing multiple products. So, that diversity is also there, and the cost, fixed cost part, indirect cost part, that is also very high. The rate currently used to allocate indirect manufacturing cost is 400% of the direct labor cost. Fine. This rate is based on rupees 33 lakh annual factory overheads divided by 8 lakh 25,000 annual direct labor cost, right. So, it means what is the total cost here? That is the total cost, means total overhead cost is 33 lakhs, right, 3.3 millions annual factory overheads, and they have to be divided by what? That is the labor cost. What is the labor cost here? 8,25,000 is the annual labor cost. So, automatically the overheads are 4 times of the annual labor cost. To produce 2000 units of the product requires 5000 units of direct material and 1000 to produce 2000 units of the product it requires rupees 5000 of the direct material and rupees 1000 of the direct labor. So, material cost is 5000 rupees, labor cost is 1000 rupees, and then the ratio of the say overhead to labor is 4 times. So, it means depending upon the total allocation, because these 33 lakhs they are incurring for the total firm, all the products they are manufacturing. So, how much it has to be allocated to this gear wire product, we will have to find out some basis for that. The unit cost and the gross margin percentage for the gear wire based on the traditional costing system are computed as follows. So, you see that this information is given here, and this information is means you can understand currently they have prepared the, you can call it as the cost sheet. They have already prepared the cost sheet, and this cost sheet is on the basis of say the total costing system or the absorption costing system, where they are directly saying material cost is how much, 5000 rupees for this particular product, not for all the products of the firm. Labor cost is 1000 rupees, direct labor cost is 1000 rupees. So, per unit material cost is 2.5 rupees and the labor cost is 50 paisa per unit, right. Indirect manufacturing overheads are 400% of the direct labor. So, if the per unit direct labor cost is 50 paisa, then how much is the overhead cost, that is 2 rupees, and then the total amount of the overhead cost is 4000 rupees. So, in that case you can say what is the total cost? Total cost is 10,000 rupees and per unit cost is how much? That is 5 rupees. So, it means because they are manufacturing how many units? 2000 units of this product. So, total cost both direct and indirect cost works out as 10,000 rupees, and this your per unit cost is 5 rupees. Selling price is how much? Selling price is offered to them, which is given above in the upper part. If you see, selling price is given to them, that is being offered by Maruti is, and Maruti is saying that we need more units from you. So, you expand the production and we will buy this unit from you at rupees 7 and paisa 50, 7.5 rupees we will buy this product from you. So, if the firm calculates it, the cost of it on the basis of the total costing and absorption costing system, this works out as how much? 5 rupees per unit, and selling price offered by Maruti is 7.5 rupees. And what is the gross margin? Gross margin is 2 rupees 50 paisa, and in terms of the percentage of the say it is the say as a percentage of the selling price is percentage of the cost is, this is 33.3%, right. This is a gross margin. If you calculate here, that is the 33.3% is the gross margin. So, company is very happy. This Reliance sincerely is very happy that they are manufacturing a product for 5 rupees and they are able to sell this product in one go to one single customer, that is Maruti Udyog Limited, and there is no need to search for any other buyer, any other market, any other place. So, they are very happy and they are thinking that they are earning a profit of 2 rupees and 50 paisa. It means the gross margin on this product is 33.3%. This is the current information while preparing the cost sheet on the basis of the total costing system or the absorption costing system. Now, we will have to find the defect, that whether this product is accurately costed at rupees 5, under costed at rupees 5 or over costed at rupees 5, and once you know the exact cost of the product, means after implementing the ABC, then you will be able to know that how much selling price should be fixed or should have been fixed by the RA or the Reliance ancillaries. Now, this paragraph is very important. After this table, after this cost sheet, the paragraph is very important, and all the indirect cost information, all the overheads cost information, overheads are 33 lakhs total for the entire factory, not for this product I am saying, that is 33 lakhs total information is given to us. So, what they are writing here? The management of Reliance Industries decided to examine the effectiveness of their traditional costing system versus an activity based costing system, whether they are rightly means valuing their product, costing their product, or there is some problem of the over costing or the under costing. Different departments were found to be consuming indirect overheads in different proportions, right. In different departments were consuming these overheads in the different proportions. For example, say like quality control cost is how much? 800,000, 8 lakhs. Quality per annum means that this information is per annum. Different departments per were found to be consuming indirect overheads in different proportions per annum. Annually, the total quality control cost is 8 lakh rupees for all the products, not for this product. Okay, this is the total indirect overheads, that is 33 lakhs. Production scheduling is 50,000 rupees, changing the production runs means. Change of the setup is 6 lakh rupees total for all the products. This is the factory level cost. Shipping is 3 lakh rupees. Shipping administration is 50,000 rupees, and production is the production related cost is the 150,000 rupees. So, the team performing ABC analysis found that all 2000 units of the product in question, that is the gear wire, have been manufactured by changing the setup 4 times and having 4 production schedules. Means setup changes 4 times, and how many production schedules are? 4 production schedules are there or the production runs are there. The total production was shipped using 10 containers with 5 shipments, and total machine hours consumed were only 15. Total hours consumed were only 15, right. Then furthermore, the number of pieces scrapped by the quality control department were only 120 in this case, in this product case, that is the total pieces for this gear wire they scrapped by this quality control department, on whom we are incurring 8 lakh rupees is the total cost, are how much? 120 only. On the overall analysis of the ancillary as a whole, it was found that the total pieces scrapped by the quality control department are 10,000. All the products, they are scrapped, their defective products are found to be 10,000, and only 120 are for this product. Total number of containers shipped by the unit was 60,000. Number of shipments used were 1000, and total machine hours consumed by the ancillary were 10,000 hours. So, this is the information about the ancillary, and production scheduling and number of setups changed were 500 each in all. Production scheduling and number of setups changed were 500 each in all. So, you can understand this information is given to us, and this information is, first the information is total detail of 33 lakhs of the say indirect cost is given to us, and how that 33 lakhs indirect cost is being used for all the products and for this product in question, that is also given to us. So, now on the basis of this information, what we have to do is we have to now find out something required. In view of the above information, prepare a schedule calculating the unit cost and gross margin using ABC approach. So, as per the absorption costing, total costing approach, that your cost sheet is already prepared, that is in the upper part their cost sheet is given, that is already prepared, and we have found out the total cost is 5 rupees and selling price is 7.5 rupees, and the gross margin is 33.3%. Now, here in this case we have to find out that number 1 is, first of all we have to redo the whole thing and prepare a new cost sheet by following the activity based costing system. Second thing is, based on the ABC results, which course of action would you recommend regarding the proposal given by MUL to RA? Means whether they should accept that 7 rupees 50 paisa as the price per unit, or they should not accept, or they should ask for something increase or decrease in the price, because if the cost is different, certainly the price has to be different. List the benefits and the costs associated with implementing ABC system in by implementing ABC system in the Reliance ancillaries, right. So, now our job is that we have to now prepare this statement that is based upon the activity based costing. One statement is already with us, we have already have calculated the cost and price, and now we have to prepare another statement, and then we have to calculate the new price under the ABC. So, now let us do it and understand that what is the difference in the total cost between the or under the two different costing systems or the costing approaches. So, now we will prepare the ABC cost sheet. So, cost sheet or the cost sheet of, you can write here as cost sheet of gear wire for RA Reliance ancillaries as per ABC activity based costing, as per ABC cost sheet of gear wire, cost sheet of gear wire for Reliance ancillaries as per the say your ABC, activity based costing system. So, as activity based costing system. So, we are preparing a new cost sheet now, we are doing a new cost analysis. So, cost sheet of the gear buyer for Reliance ancillaries as per the ABC activity based costing system, because previous cost sheet is already there with you and we have calculated the cost as 5 rupees. Let us see now how much is the actual cost here, we will try to find it out. So, for calculating this cost here, we have to put some headings here, and these headings are activities, one. Second is the you can call it as the annual cost, cost of different activities you can say. Then is the number of cost drivers, and then we have to calculate the cost per driver. Cost per driver means cost per unit, cost per hour. So, that we have to calculate is the cost driver. Then is the consumption of cost drivers, consumption of cost drivers, and then we have to finally calculate the total cost here. So, total cost for the product, that is the gear buyer. So, here activities, annual cost, number of cost drivers, cost per driver, consumption of the cost drivers, and then it is the total cost, right. So, first of all we will talk about the the direct cost which we have to take here. I am not taking here the activities, but you can call it as the activities. You can one more thing you can add here, it is the cost head oblique activities. So, what is the cost head given here? First of all, we take the material cost, because two costs are direct cost, material cost is the direct cost, labor cost is direct cost. These all things are not required, because that is directly apportionable to the product. So, first you will write here direct material cost, direct material cost is how much, nothing will be coming here, and finally this amount will straightway go here as rupees, this amount is rupees 5,000, right. Now, we write here direct labor cost. Direct labor cost is here, we have to put here nothing, and how much is the direct labor cost? It is rupees 1,000. Now, we will be talking about the different activities for allocating the indirect cost, which earlier we have been allocating as the 400% of the direct labor, but now we will not do it. So, we will have to find out the different activities, and first activity is the quality control. Quality control. So, what is the total amount required for the quality control here? The cost given to us is, that is the total amount of the cost given to us is, that is say rupees, how much we have to check it, that cost is given to us is something like that 8 lakh rupees. So, this cost is rupees 8 lakh, total cost is rupees 8 lakhs, right. Yes, total cost is rupees 8 lakhs, and annual cost driver, how many products are being checked, that is the 10,000. This for hours we are working on it. So, if you talk about this, so we have to see here that how many times. So, if you talk about that is the, it was found that the total pieces scrapped by the quality control department are 10,000. So, it means per piece cost we have to calculate. So, for all the departments we are say checking the quality control and scrapping the pieces are 10,000, and cost per driver if you calculate here, that works out as 8 lakh divided by 10,000. So, this works out as how much? 80 rupees. This cost is 80 rupees, and then we will talk about is the next part, that is the consumption of the drivers. For this product, how many products are scrapped? For this the products scrapped are 120, right. So, we will write here 120 products are scrapped. So, you have to calculate the cost multiplying 80 rupees per product per unit and multiplied by the 120 scrapped products. So, how much this amount is? This amount works out as rupees 9,600. This amount is rupees 9,600. So, direct material cost for this product is 5,000 rupees, labor cost is 1,000 rupees, quality control cost is, total cost is 8 lakh rupees for the firm as a whole. Then the number of drivers are 10,000, total products scrapped are 10,000, but all the products put together, not for this, and per driver cost is, that is a per product scrapped product cost is 80, and then the consumption of the cost driver. In this case, in gear wires only 120 products are found scrapped. So, how much is the cost for finding out those scrappable products? That is 120 multiplied by 80. So, this amount works out as 9600. Next thing is the production scheduling. Next activity is the production scheduling. Production scheduling is, how much is the cost here? Total cost given to us is 50,000 rupees. Scheduling the production runs. Total cost given to us is 50,000 rupees, and in this case how much means say scheduling are done, that is for the, let us check the scheduling done here, that is for the 500 times. So, total cost we have to calculate for this amount is, it is given to us last line, production scheduling and number of setups changed per 500 in each at all. So, it means how much that cost is 500 time production scheduling is done 500 times. What is written here? Production scheduling and number of setups change were 500 in each all. So, it means what is this cost? We have to take this cost here as 50,500. So, what is the per unit cost? 100, and then is the consumption of drivers in this case 4 times the production scheduling has been done. So, it is 4. So, how much this works out as? Total amount works out in this case is 400s. This amount works out as 400s. Now, next is the setups, change of setups. Next, total setups and change of the setups are this. So, what is the setup cost given to us here? That is 6 lakhs. Cost given us is the 6 lakhs, and how many times the setups are changed depending upon the production runs? They are 500. So, the cost change, setup cost per setup cost is coming out to be 1,200 rupees. 1,200 rupees. So, in this case 4 times the setup is being changed. So, it means how much it works out as? Rupees 4,800. Rupees 4,800. This is the setup time or change of the setups. So, this we have calculated. Now, we talk about the shipping, cost of the shipping. Shipping is another activity, and total cost of the shipping is given to us. If you calculate the total cost of the shipping, then this total cost of the shipping is how much? It is the 3 lakhs. What are the total shipments we have done here? The containers shipped. Containers shipped are that information is given to you is containers shipped are 60,000. Containers shipped are 60,000. So, you have to divide this 3 lakhs by the 60,000. So, this amount works out as how much? 5 rupees. This is the cost here, 5 rupees, and number of the shipments we have made is how much? How many shipments are made here is 10. So, this works out as how much? 50 rupees. This works out as 50 rupees, right. After shipping, the next cost is what we have with us. After shipping, the shipping administration is the next. Shipping administration is the next. So, if you talk about the shipping administration, what is the cost of shipping administration here? Shipping administration is the cost is means for the shipments is 50,000 rupees. This cost is 50,000 rupees, and how many shipments are there? How many products are shipped? 1,000, right. So, it means what is the per driver cost? It is 50 rupees. This cost is 50 rupees, and what is the total shipments? 5. So, what is the cost here? That is 250 rupees. 250 rupees, and then is the production of the products. Production oblique you can say machining. Production or machining. When you are doing the machining or you are going for the production here, it means what is the cost here? 1 lakh, 15 lakhs. Highest cost is the 15 lakhs. Machining of the products cost is 15 lakhs. So, this is the highest number, and how many units are manufactured total? That is 10,000 units, right. So, machining is 10,000, this machine hours, machine has run for the 10,000 hours. So, it means here cost driver is 150, cost driver is 150, and per driver cost is 15 rupees. And what is the total cost here? This for this product is this works out as 2250. This cost works out as 2250. So, it means what is the total cost here? Is it total amount works out as how much? 33 lakhs. So, it means we have to take care total cost given to us was 8 lakhs. This production scheduling is 50,000, then it is setup cost is 6 lakhs, and then shipping is 3 lakhs, and then we have the cost of this say shipments. This shipping administration is 50,000 rupees, and production machining depending upon the machine hours. So, machining cost is a 15 lakhs. So, 15 and 8 23, 23 and 6 is 29, 29 and 3 32, 32 then 50 plus 50 is 33. So, this cost works out as total cost is 33 lakhs. This we had to apportion. So, earlier how we were allocating the cost? This 33 lakhs were being distributed, being added to the different products as say the 4 times of the direct labor, but the total cost is 33 lakhs, and in this case if you calculate for this product how much this works out as, first part is how much we have total is material cost is 5,000, labor cost is 1,000, quality control cost for this product is 9,600. Then next is the quality, after this the production scheduling cost is 400 rupees. Then next head is the setup cost is 4,800 rupees, and then is the shipping cost is 50 rupees, and then is the shipping administration is 250 rupees, and production and machining of the product is, that is as per the number of hours we are using, that is 2,250. So, it means if you now calculate this total allocation of the indirect overheads here. So, out of this 33 lakh rupees for this one particular product, the overheads to be allocated are, if you total it up, this works out as how much? 17,350. This is the total cost, indirect cost. So, now you can easily find out what is the direct cost. These are the 3 costs are important for us now. This is one cost, this is another cost, and this is another cost. These 3 costs are important for us now. So, we have seen here the total cost which works out here as, that is the say how much, it will be somewhere not more than, or you can say that is the cost is 17 and 22, 23, 23,350 rupees is the total cost. Total cost I will take here is as total cost for manufacturing this product is how much? 23,000. I am not preparing all the columns now, only the last column I am preparing. This is 23,350. This is the total cost. Now, we have to see here that how many units we have manufactured here, number of units we are manufacturing here are how many? 2,000s. So, you can calculate now the total cost, but per unit. If you calculate the total cost per unit, then it works out as how much? Total cost per unit is how much? Total cost per unit is you dividing this number of 23,350 divided by 2,000s. So, this will work as how much? Rupees. If you calculate this cost, this comes up as rupees 11.675. This is the cost 11.675. This cost is 11.675. So, this is the actual cost, right? This is the actual cost. What was the cost as per the total costing system? If you go by the total costing system or the absorption costing system, the cost was how much? 5 rupees, right? How much is the difference in the cost? 6.675. 6.675. This is the ABC. This is the ABC, that is the 6.675 is the activity based costing, means the difference we are working out with the help of the activity based costing is 6.65 rupees, and you are, when you are working this, otherwise this cost was coming up as how much? 5 rupees. So, it means now what is the problem? Where is the problem? What is the selling price offered by Maruti? The selling price offered by Maruti here is, if you think about how much price they were offering the total price is, that is say difference we have already calculated 6.675, and the price offered by the company is how much? 7.5. Price offered by MUL is how much? That is 7.5 rupees, right. So, any product which is costing us how much? 11.675. So, it means you can understand what is the difference we are incurring here, the difference in the price. If you calculate this difference in the price, you will be able to understand what is the difference in the price. Now, if you take out, we will take the difference in the price is, what is the total difference here we have taken? Total cost is 11 point. So, total cost per unit is total cost per unit is how much? This is 11.675, right. And what is the price, selling price that is offered by Maruti? Selling price of this company is, that is a purchase price for the Maruti is how much they have offered is 7.5, right. So, what is the total difference here? If you calculate the gross margin oblique loss, this amount is going to be how much? That is rupees 4.175, and gross margin percentage, if you gross margin oblique loss percentage, if you take here, this comes up as how much? 55 point. If you calculate this as the percentage, this is 55.70%. So, now we find out here is that the price offered by the company, by the buyer is 7.500, and the total cost which we have worked out here is 11.675%. So, you can understand what is the difference in the two costing systems, right. Previous costing system is saying our cost of production is 5 rupees, right, and we are selling the product at 7.5 rupees. So, it means we are very happy, but when we have reworked the whole thing as per the ABC, cost is working out for this product gear wire is 11.675 rupees. So, you can understand the difference. So, why this difference has come, how this difference is going to create a serious problem in the overall costing system of the company, and how to correct it, I will discuss with you in the next class. Thank you very much.